Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdad that I'll eat whatever I want in this house because I'm paying for it in front of my stepsisters? I'm 20 male, currently living with my mom full-time since my dad is working out of the country. She has a husband and has 2 daughters from a previous marriage, 12 female and 14 female, and my half-sibling 6 male. My mom's husband is unemployed because he was abruptly terminated. Both of them do gigs here and there while he looks for a job, but they barely bring money to the house. I'm in my 2nd year of uni while working and getting money from my dad every month. I've been paying for most of my stuff. Clothes, hobbies, phone bill, etc. ever since I was 16, and when I turned 18, I began to pay rent and for my car. My mom's husband and his daughters are big eaters. I don't mind. I just started to buy my own groceries and they knew they weren't allowed to have any. Though I'd let my stepsisters take some of my snacks because I get their kids. But ever since 3 or 4 months ago, my mom has been asking me to buy this, buy that, buy this again. And I've been doing their groceries too. So I'm basically paying for all the food, plus rent, plus driving my stepsister to and from school and among other things. Yesterday, we were having dinner together and I remembered I'd bought a watermelon a few days ago and it was almost all gone. But I could eat the last of it and it was okay. My stepsister said she wanted some too and I said there was barely anything left. And she could have an apple or something. She said she wanted watermelon and I said sorry. My mom's husband said kids go first, but I said kids have been eating watermelon for the past days and it was my turn. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Put it back, son. You can eat something else." So I just said, I'll be eating whatever I want because I was paying for it. Nobody said anything after that and I took it to my room. Later, my mom came and apologized for him, but said that I shouldn't have said anything in front of my sisters and was rude because I was being financially abusive with my family. So I don't know. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They are financially abusing you. Funny how good parasites are at projecting. If stepdad is so worried about what his kids eat, then he can get a job and provide them with food. What kind of man and woman is okay with being supported by a 20-year-old? If OP keeps this up, he will be doing it forever. Let them grow up. And I'm sure the stepkids already know, seeing as they never see their dad going to work. Not the a-hole. He was rude to you in front of everyone and you gave it right back. If you are paying for everything, you need to move out. I know, but at the same time, I'm worried about my stepsister and my baby brother. I don't want anything bad happening to them while I'm able to help. I just don't like being treated like a kid when I think I'm pulling my weight well enough. I get that, but consider that they might need you more in the future. You're an easy target right now, but well-adjusted people don't shove their weight around so much. Info. The money you have that you are using for bills and groceries that benefit you, mom, stepdad, and family is the money your dad gives you or from a job. It sounds like your dad is financing his ex's family through you. Not the a-hole though. You aren't holding money over their head in a manipulative manner. You are being reasonable. A small part of it, yes. My dad is aware of this, and while he doesn't like it, he says it's my money and I get to do whatever I see fit. He gives me $150 less because he says that if I'm paying here, then he'll take some to put into a savings account, and I'm okay with it. Most of my paycheck go toward a house, because I have a good job and I do a few art gigs here and there too that help a lot. I only take $80 to $120 from the money my dad gives me to cover X or Y thing. You and your dad are both too nice for your own good. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister move in with me after her selfish decisions? Me, 18 male, and my best friend, 20 female, have our own apartment with each other, and had my sister, 21 female, staying with us for a while until we could all find more stable living situations. This was all going good, until my sister decided that she wanted to move out, without telling us. This caused us to be short on rent and caused a lot of emotional stress. She had decided that she would stay with a friend, since she did not want to pay rent. Me and my best friend decided now was the time to look for better, more stable living situations. My roommate decided to choose a studio apartment, and I decided to move in with some friends in a city. This is all going into effect soon. Last night, I got spammed with phone calls from my mom and grandmother, and once I finally answered, my mother had said, "You need to let your sister come back." She got kicked out of her friend's house. As I'm planning on moving out, I do not have the financial or emotional capabilities to have her back into my home. I responded with, "Absolutely not." Continuing through that 2.5-hour conversation, I explained that she needs to learn from her mistakes as she was never punished as a child or shown what real-world consequences look like. I was not letting her back into my house. My mother continued to say, family comes first no matter what, and that is just the stupidest thing I have ever heard. People are people, and people are a-holes. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Edit, for a bit more context plus answering some questions from the comments. 1. Mom can't take her in due to her living across the country. 2. Sister has been babied and treated like the golden child my entire life. 3. Mom is called 5 times today trying to guilt trip me still. You're the a-hole to yourself though for getting suckered into a 2.5-hour conversation about it, when you only need to state the facts. When your sister moved out, you can no longer pay for your current place. You've had to make other living arrangements. There's no longer a room for your sister. The 2.5-hour conversation was mostly me getting screamed at and trying to explain my points but not getting a word in. Do not tell them your new address. Not the a-hole. 100% this. They sound like the kind of people that would literally have her just show up at your door in the middle of the night. Get a P.O. box if they need to mail you anything. Not the a-hole. If family comes first, what did mom say when your sister screwed you? And mommy's the one responsible for raising her own kids. Tell her to do her job. Well, sister is the golden child, so nothing. There you go, Opie. You owe them nothing. They haven't been family to you all this time, so you can happily not be family to them as well. You could lie and tell your mother that you were evicted because of your sister bailing on you, so you're already out of the apartment and couldn't host even if you wanted to. You could also mute your mother's phone calls for the time being. Yes, but then my sister is not learning from anything. By getting rejected into a home due to selfish/careless acts, you learn to stop making those acts and take responsibility for your actions. You want your mother and sister to know that you could take her in, but you won't because of how she treated you. You want your sister to be punished and you want her to know that you are the one punishing her. You're mad that she screwed you over. That's understandable, except I'm pointing out that people like your sister and mother won't get it. They're just going to harass you into taking her back in, which is why you need to cover your behind. Stop trying to get personal payback. Let your payback come from having a successful and fulfilling life on your own terms. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepfather that he had no right to share information on my pregnancy on social media? I'm currently expecting my first child. I don't live close to my mom or her family, so we have group chats going where I keep them updated on my pregnancy, since I'm not on Facebook/Twitter/Instagram. I had asked them not to share anything. Then my stepfather makes a post on Facebook announcing he's going to be a grandpa, that his baby girl is expecting, and shares not only the ultrasound photo, but also the name we have chosen for our baby. A friend of mine on Facebook told me about the post and shared a screenshot with me. I called him up and asked him what the hell he was thinking, and how dare he do it when we had explicitly stated not to. He told me he was sorry and that he had let excitement get to him. Then he told me I should be happy because baby's going to be loved, and has their grandparents all present and excited for them. I saw red because my dad died several years ago. So no, my baby will not have all their grandparents in their life. They're missing the one who would probably have been the best. I told him he was being insensitive and I needed to end the call before I said something I would regret. The next day, he sent me a text apologizing again and saying we should be closer now than ever, and he feels like I am taking stuff out on him that is not his fault. A few hours after that, he called and told me I wouldn't have reacted as badly if mom had shared. I told him I would still be mad, but he especially had no right to share. That he is not my father. That he did everything he could to make my dad's life hell before he died. And that I would always blame him for my dad's more sudden death. The background on that is my dad started suffering from a number of health complications about 2 months after my mom remarried. My stepfather tried to get dad to surrender custody and just visit, but let him take over being the dad to me. Dad refused and continued being an active participant in my life. Stepfather tried continuing to take over the role. Then he told my dad he would adopt me once he was gone, so I would always have a dad. Dad was still alive and still able to do stuff with me. But here was this guy who already tried to get him out of the picture, telling him he would take his place. Dad didn't make it too long after that. He went down rapidly. My stepfather was never shy about the stuff he was saying, so I always knew. The adoption never happened. I spoke to the judge and said I would never want my stepfather to be my father. I never called him dad. Never loved him or said I love you to him. I have never hugged him. I have never ever celebrated or honored him on Father's Day. So when I told him that he especially had no right, and that I did blame him for how my dad died, he told me I was being unfair. He told me how cold it was, that he has been in my life for 22 years now and I should embrace him and give my child the gift of a loving grandparent. My mom then called after and told me it was mean to tell him he had no right as though he were a stranger. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, and even without the added layer of him trying to replace your dad, when your dad was still present in your life, it would be a terrible thing to do. You don't announce somebody's pregnancy before they get to share their news, and you don't share details they trusted you with, but don't want shared. You would be absolutely right to be angry with anyone doing this. He wanted to steal Opie from her dad. That failed, so now he wants to steal grandkid from her dad. Personally, I'd go on a rampage, clarifying that the guy is her mom's husband and is not a grandparent nor will ever be a grandparent, unless kid chooses at 18. And I would say why. That he doesn't care about Opie or the kid. He just wants to hurt the deceased dad. The mom deserves blasting for enabling this behavior. And mom needs to be put on info diet and only told things when/if they go public. But that's me. I'm overly protective of people I care about. And doesn't matter if they're deceased. Trying to use children for sick ownership games? Oh hell no. Opie isn't an a-hole. If anything, Opie is being probably too relaxed about things. Not the a-hole. It wouldn't matter if he was your birth parent. He still violated your trust by posting. As it is, this is just a continuation of him placing his own wants above you. He didn't care that you loved your dad. He didn't care that he hurt you by hurting your dad. He didn't care that you didn't want to be adopted. And now he doesn't care what you want for your own child either. It seems like he cares more about you and your child being a prop in his life to make him seem like such a great stepdad/grandpa than he actually cares about you and your feelings. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not being interested in my friend's children's development and not lending money? I have been invited to my friend's house last night for dinner after we haven't seen us for almost a year. Their children are 7 and 13, and the 13-year-old daughter is from his previous relationship. The mother is out of the picture. They don't know where she is and they haven't seen her since the breakup. He remarried, and they have had a son now, 7. It has been a rough 2 years for these friends of mine. They have been on and off jobs, needed to change apartment, and downgraded quite a bit. I have been helping out already with single payments for utility, insurance, and the odd small medical emergency they had. Their daughter has had a dream to attend a certain school, and there is a yearly fee to pay. This is not the US, so it's only a couple of $1,000 a year, which is a lot anyway. I know she wants to go there, and have encouraged her to do the scholarship route as they are eligible and just need to fill out some forms. At least they'll get a huge discount, if not an entire scholarship. She has started at that school, but the parents haven't paid the fees yet, and because of their own shortcoming, haven't filed any papers. They're working a lot of hours, but it is possible. Or at least send a babysitter or even me to the school to give the papers, but they didn't. Now, yesterday, they painted this picture of sadness and being the victim of the world, and I didn't buy it. The daughter started to cry and they told me I am hindering her development, and it would just be borrowed money until next year. I kind of feel I won't get that money back ever, and it also feels like they use me as their backup option. It really does feel like they slack off on purpose. I very openly told them that I do not care and that this doesn't fall into my responsibility. He then added that I easily could pay for it, and I agreed, but I still won't. I was very frank during that discussion, and it seems my honesty was a bit too much for them. We have been friends since childhood, but these fees aren't news, and they had a lot of time to prepare for it, save up, or even ask earlier. During the very quiet last glass of wine, I contemplated and offered a monthly payback plan, starting January next year, just to see their reaction, to be honest. I think it is a fair option. It'll solve the issue for now, and they can decide how much to pay me back each month. They told me they'd think about it, and I received a message today that I am an a-hole for putting them in a situation of even greater debt, and that I am playing with them knowing their situation, putting even more pressure on them. I called up the school to inquire, and they also offer various plans to pay, so it very much seems my friends simply wanted me to pay the school. Anyway, I'm curious to know if I am the a-hole. Not the a-hole, and you need to cut these people out of your life. You do not owe anything to anyone. Guilt-tripping people is a highly manipulative strategy. They're going to continue to use you for your money. This, OP, they're guilting and using you to get what they want. I'd respond back, Because it seems that the help I'm giving currently isn't appreciated, and that you'll always want more, I'll no longer be covering your other bills starting next month. Please do not reach out to me to get more money from me or to try and guilt me. I will simply block you. I will also tell you that you don't respect my boundaries, have never appreciated me helping you with your bills, and only value me for my money. This was intentional. They always planned on guilting OP into paying for an unnecessary and expensive school. And using their daughter into manipulation is despicable. These people aren't your friends. A potentially better school for the daughter is a worthy goal. But before they ever seek help from others, they need to first help themselves. Not bothering to even apply for a scholarship/aid is simply inexcusable. Not the a-hole. Your friends are using you as a slush fund. If they can't afford to send their daughter to this school even with scholarships, they should have been upfront with her about that. Now they're going to make you be the bad guy, since you're refusing to pay, and rightfully so. Regardless of how long you've been friends, you need to cut the financial ties ASAP. Stop bailing them out and see how long your friendship lasts. It doesn't matter that you have more money than they do. You made different choices. It doesn't make sense to finance their life even when you can, because there may come a day when you're financially maxed out. And I don't see them having an issue with cutting you off when you're of no use to them.